Hi Gemini, how's it going? We are here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands can feel like you have a lot going on. I'm also seeing the Hierophant. This can feel like it's part of the pressure, part of the duty. I'm seeing the Hierophant as being this position that you're in and what you're playing out. So this can mean when it comes to job, when it comes to responsibilities, or maybe when it comes to schooling, or when it comes to some type of learning environment, something that you have going on. There can be a lot that's being asked of you. You can be expecting a lot of yourself. Having the Hierophant, it does speak about responsibility. And so in whatever position it is that you're in, you can feel like part of the weight comes from being in a role where you can have other people looking to you. This can be more of a mentorship that you feel you're connecting with, even like officially, unofficially. That's kind of what this is feeling like. Like you can have in the Hierophant card, seeing these people sort of looking to the Hierophant. And so you can have people that are looking to you for answers. You can have people looking to you for guidance. This can also be like a learning, teaching environment that you're in as well, something that you've been working on, something that you've given a lot of your energy to. I'm also seeing something where there's a lot of dedication here. Simultaneously, it can just feel like there's a lot on your plate. Eight of Pentacles shows you being hardworking, especially given the position that you're in where you sort of have to be. Like that's what's expected of you, and it can just feel like a lot right now. This looks like a chapter is ending. This looks like an accomplishment, that there is a big chapter closing out. Because it's completed. And once that happens, I'm seeing there's going to be some, it looks like a period of rest that can be happening. Where on this side we have the Ten of Wands, where there's like so much to do, so much needs to get done, have to be here, have to be there. Moving closer to the world is going to show that you've done what you needed to do, that you've completed what you needed to complete. And then we hop over to the Four of Swords, which is, okay, now I can put all of this down. I can rest. I can relax. I'm not having a bunch of things where I'm needed. This feels like a break that's going to be happening. It also looks too like something comes to an end, and there can be feelings about that. Maybe this wasn't necessarily something that you wanted. The only reason I'm saying that is because we have Ten of Swords, which is something that happens that is not the easiest thing to move through. And then having the Five of Cups, there can be feelings about this, about how things happened in the way that they did. I wonder too if there's a desire to change something here. So even though you can feel like you have more time to relax, at the same time it feels like certain things are over. And I wonder too if this is associated with like something that you've been putting in work with. Having that Hierophant there, I'm seeing it kind of be connected with the Ten of Swords. So I wonder if there's a position that you've been in or some situation that you've been in that's coming to a close because it's time for this to be finished. And then seeing Eight of Pentacles be connected with Five of Cups, I wonder if there's something going on where it's like all of this energy that was put into something, but now things are coming to an end, and then there can be feelings about that. Like, I wonder what could have been done differently maybe. is kind of the feeling that I'm getting from this. Like, look at all that work that I put in, like, look at how I was cruising with that and what was going on. And then there can be a, like, having a hard time coming to terms with this. Just, I think, really accepting overall. The thing is, with the world here, it does show a sense of completion, that your part is completed then. So you don't need to do more when we have the world. But the feelings that I'm seeing can maybe feel a bit differently than that. Like, that may not necessarily be the perspective when it comes to the feelings. The word recumbent is coming through. When I hear the word recumbent, the only thing that I think of is a recumbent bike. I'm sure that that word has other meanings, but that specifically is coming through. Recumbent bikes are the ones that I think they're the ones that you sit on and you pedal, but it doesn't actually go anywhere. Like, it's static, it doesn't move. Like, locomotively it moves, but as far as going somewhere, it doesn't, like, change locations. It stays in the same one. Like, the wheels move, it's just not hitting the ground, so they don't go anywhere. Okay, stuff about relationships are coming up here, and I think also, okay, I'm seeing Capricorn. So the Lovers are connected with Five of Cups. What this can mean is that something went down between you and another person, and there can be things that are not feeling totally and completely let go of. I'm seeing Capricorn and I'm seeing Gemini next to each other. Then over here I'm seeing Taurus and I'm seeing the moon. I'm also seeing Saturn. It feels like there is a quieting or even a break that's being taken. There can be a break that's being taken that was connected with a relationship. There can be something going on with a relationship. It feels like there's something about, like, needing to gain peace of mind and needing to gain deeper insight and figure out what to do, how to move forward, sort of where you want to go, what your priorities are, figuring out priorities before moving forward. Now, seeing the Lovers be connected with Five of Cups, this can be something where you wanted things to be a certain way with a person, things are not necessarily going that way. Seeing Ten of Swords and seeing the Devil, what this means is that there can be something closing out, and even though it's meant to be closing out, because we have the Devil here, so this is something that you're better off not being a part of necessarily. Like, it's really something that can be like a bit of a poison, I think, within your life. But when we have the Devil there can be like this obsession over something coming to an end. And there can also be something a bit out of balance with you in this relationship with this person. Some of you, you're not even in contact with them. But I'm definitely getting this notion here of there is such a focus on the past, such a focus on what happened, to the point where I feel like there's a lack of tuning in and being present to what's going on. And because of this, it feels like there's something going on where there is a stillness needed in order to figure out which way to move forward before you just automatically make a move. And then it's one that came from a place of, I think, really like wounding and trauma, rather than a place that is a more informed, connected, and tuned in place. Because this feels kind of like, the way that I'm seeing the energy of the Devil can be like, no, this is your instinct, go in that direction. And then you find out it's just your wounding that's been promoting this. And you can also be having a hard time just letting go of things as well and sort of accepting what has happened. And within that period of this fully not being, I feel like there hasn't been a detachment yet from this energetically. And so this can even feel like in the space that I'm taking, where I'm meant to be sort of recovering mentally from this, what I'm using this time for is thinking over and over again about what went down and then how that wasn't what I wanted. And so it feels like this time, instead of being used to maybe ground and really think about your priorities, it feels more so like the part of you that's more so impulsively connected, especially connected not with your higher wisdom, but with the part that is connected with trauma, the part that's connected with wounding. Feels like that part is the one that's like steering the ship when it comes to what you're thinking about and what you're focusing on and what you're spending your time investing in, even if it's just in your head, what you're investing in. And it really does feel like something is very out of balance within this relationship that I'm seeing here. Again, even if you're not in contact with this person, I'm seeing something here about wanting to sort of rush into the dynamic, but in a way where having the devil here shows that something is not balanced. And you can feel that too in the, like, why can't I focus on anything else if like I feel so obsessive about it. And the thing is that when you connect with something, there is a sense of flow and there's going to be a sense of easiness. When there's this sense of panic and frustration and rush and insane intensity where you like can't think about anything else, it shows something deeper going on there. Something more deeply that can be looked at. But this can feel like a lot to sort of bear the weight of emotionally, because I'm seeing Moon be connected with this. And I wonder too if there was something going on where there was a feeling like certain values aligned. And that can also be why there is the holding on still. Seeing Saturn here too, I wonder if something related to Saturn is connected with this as well, where Saturn is the thing that we teach lessons when we go through those experiences, but they can be really difficult ones. Simultaneously, they're the ones that help us to grow up. They're the ones that help us to evolve, to mature, to progress, to understand ourselves better, and to peel back the layers as well, as Saturn simplifies things. So even though it does seem like there's been a completion within the relationship, it feels like there still hasn't been I'm getting confirmation of this. Energetically, there's been a completion. It feels like the stuff that you needed to go through with this person, you went through. I feel like as a partnership with this person, you went through the things that you were meant to go through with them. It also feels like it was a lot too. Now, discounting what's over here on this side, something that I'm seeing over here that's just now catching my eye is that the Hierophant and the High Priestess are connected, and in the Major Arcana, these are counterparts with one another. So having the Hierophant and having the High Priestess, there's something that could have felt like it was brought together within the dynamic, like the bringing together of these two pieces that were meant to meet. And then having the world above the lovers feels like there was a sense of accomplishment, like what needed to be completed was completed regarding the relationship, regarding the dynamic. It feels too like this was a mixture of getting more clear on values. I think too, as it has to do with relationships, and also as it has to do with self too. Because having Taurus be seen as a sign of stability and it being like that fixed earth energy, and then also having the moon there, which moon loves being in the sign of Taurus. Having the moon there, the moon is connected with oscillations and things moving around and the ups and the downs, but then having that be linked with Taurus, there can be sort of more of a sense of stability there. And it does feel too like I'm seeing 8 of Wands go into 3 of Cups, and so this can be something where there's actually like more of a sense of connection of one's experience and like the whole experience of what one is feeling on like every level. And then also what is being learned, and also understanding more and uncovering more about values, about beliefs. And so things have been challenging, stuff is moving forward. Having Hierophant and having 3 of Cups feels like there is a coming together where when I see Hierophant and I see 3 of Cups, I imagine people connecting with each other and they sort of believe in the same things and there being commonality between it, because Hierophant is connected with like belief systems and whatnot. So this can mean like we both are really fascinated in this subject that we like to study, or both of us speak the same language, or we both believe in the same like philosophy or something like that, or we grew up in the same culture. There's going to be some type of connection there that can really feel like, wow, I feel seen because these are the important beliefs and things that feel important to me, and we share that in common, because 3 of Cups is going to be that commonality. So the Hierophant is kind of whatever is connected with what one believes in, or what even one is familiar with, or traditionally what one is comfortable with. And then the 3 of Cups feels like I'm not the only one, you believe in that too, and so we connect because of that. And then also we have 8 of Pentacles, which feels like it's connected with what's been being worked on. And then having the moon be there, this feels like getting more familiar with what one is feeling and understanding intuitive messages and signs, and connected with the higher self, connected even with higher purpose, and that this was all brought about by the relationship. So it feels like this was what the relationship brought. It was like somebody to relate to, because you were like, that's important to you, this is important to me, or you bring like that culture and I bring this culture, and then we want to learn. It's like, it feels like some type of thing there where there was some type of learning and teaching environment that you had with this person, and it feels like that was even celebrated, because this can be like things that come together then. And it feels like within that there was a lot of emotional work that was being done. But moon isn't just the emotions, it's like the experience. As moon is connected with like the highest energies within us, the ones that see like from a more umbrellaed standpoint, because it is the highest energy up, it is connected with that sense of divine wisdom, and that tuning in, and that knowing of self, and that understanding of self, and that being present to one's experience, and one's personal truth as well. It feels like this allowed for work to be done there in that territory. Because if we see moon as sort of being one's core, but also can be difficult to get to at times or bring to light at times, because there can many times be like a disregarding of feelings, or a like not being in situations where it's hard to be present to that. It feels like what's been worked on is that relationship with self, and is that relationship with that divine wisdom within. And again, coming to this place of when we have the world and we have the lovers, this feels like these things that we've gone through that have to do with partnership, that have taught us the things that we were meant to learn. Like basically the purpose of those relationships, the purpose of this relationship was to learn these things. And there can be stuff about security as well, emotional security. It can go beyond that, what we feel comfortable with, what we feel safe with, stability in general. This can be like this gave me a sense of reliability emotionally, or I felt safe with that, or this was dependable for me. It can be that type of thing as well. Like something, again, like when we have the moon be connected with Taurus, there can be this, like I feel trusting because it's not going to be going anywhere. And so there's that security to it, because Taurus is seen as that reliability and that sturdiness, that foundational, it's not going anywhere, because Taurus is a very strong sign. And there's also a loyalty within that too. So then having the moon connected with that, it feels like it made a connection there where that was that sense of security. And it feels like that allowed for something when it came to one's experience on an internal level. So if there was like maybe a lot of instability, and then you connected and there was that sense of stability, or figuring out more about values and whatnot, that could have definitely been promoted within the relationship. So that being said, we have that going on there. Maybe like that was one side of things, and maybe this is another side of things. So on this other side of things, we have Four of Swords and we have the Devil. So when we have Four of Swords, this is about getting our mind right. Whatever it is that you see Four of Swords as like when you don't feel like you're necessarily in a stable place, or you need to recover, or you need to recharge, or you need to ground, you need to center, or do self-care. Four of Swords is connected with that. And when we have the Devil, this feels like this is about healing what needs to be healed, especially interpersonal situations. To allow things that we see as being unhealthy, or things that we see as being toxic, to come to an end. And that's what this Ten of Swords is about. What do you look at and say, I don't think that's good for me, or I don't think that's the best thing for me, or I don't think that that's promoting wellness, or I don't think that's promoting harmony and balance, or I'm used to trying to get my needs met like this, and then it never really meets my needs, and so I just get deeper and deeper into that, and it becomes out of control, or it's never enough with the Devil. And then what to do then? So then having that Ten of Swords and having this Two of Pentacles feels like figuring out what parts of things need to be like cut off, or burned, or surrendered, like given away, because they don't promote that sense of well-being and balance, and they don't leave us feeling better. Like the Devil is stuff that we get involved in that we think like, oh, this is going to make me feel good, and it might temporarily, but then it feels disempowering ultimately, because we give our power to whatever this is, and then it doesn't really give us what we need, and then we're sort of caught in that cycle again and again and again. This Ten of Swords and this Two of Pentacles feels like you figuring out what those things are for you and bringing them to an end. But then when we have that Five of Cups there can be it's difficult for me to do this. I didn't want to have to do this. Like I didn't want this to be toxic, or I didn't want this to be unhealthy, or I didn't want this to be bad for me, or like I did want this to be the answer. And you can feel like the only way to do this is having Four of Swords be connected with Knight of Wands is sort of simmering down the impulsivity to like not listen to yourself and then go back to that thing again that can feel familiar, but you can also look at and say, that's not really what I'm looking for. It's like before you understand what the devil is, you think certain things are the answer. And then you catch on that it isn't actually. It kind of looks like it, but it doesn't totally fit. There's something missing. There's something wrong with it. And so even though it can feel like it's kind of close to mimicking what you're actually looking for, it doesn't, not 100%. Almost, but not quite with the devil. And so before we're ready to sort of admit that to ourselves, or before we realize that there's always that like being in the cycle again and again and again, until you realize that it's just going to be that again and again and again and never quite it. But if there's that, I don't want to think about that part. I don't want to have to tune into that part of myself. I just want to try again and try again and try again and try again. And it's like, even though it's the same thing over and over again, there can be that, well, maybe this time it'll work, or maybe this time it'll be. But this feels like getting to that point of saying like, I don't know that I want to keep doing this anymore. And so it's like, let's just use an example. Let's say that you're trying to quit a habit. You don't want to be doing it anymore because you feel like, again, like maybe it gives you some sort of instantaneous relief, but then when it comes to more long term, you're like, I don't want to be doing this. And I feel like this is coming from a place more deeply within me that this is like just barely scratching the surface of. So if you're trying not to do that thing anymore, when the Knight of Wands comes onto the scene, it can be the part of you that's like, I'm struggling with letting go of this thing, and so I want to make myself feel better by going back and doing that thing again, only to end up back here again. And so it's about working with that part of yourself and being, hey, we need to just like chill out. It just feels like sort of unplugging a little bit and grounding the energy. And I think coming back to a space where there is a deliberate, mindful paying attention to what's being done rather than just doing something without thinking about it and then ending back up in the same situation again and then ending back here. It just feels like I don't want to be in this cycle anymore. And that's the thing with Saturn too, is that it will bring up the same themes again and again and again until we have completed them. And that's why we experience the same things. And for some of you, like, sure, maybe this is one relationship. For others of you, it can be many different relationships, but it's the same themes that you experience. But what you'll notice too is that when you actually have completed those, you don't experience them again. Something that can also be difficult too is admitting when something is not what you thought it was. When you think that something is the real answer to what you're looking for, or it's going to like satisfy this need within you, or this thing that you want, and then it's that moment where you see that it's not truly that, it feels like there's dealing with this as well. Because we don't like move towards the devil being like, I know that this is out of alignment and I know that this isn't the answer. Because if we knew that already, we wouldn't go in that direction. But before we get to that point, there is that it hasn't fully been realized yet. And so you sort of walk into it being like, this just might be it. and then you get let down enough to be like, this may actually not just be it. But the reason why it's hard to sort of like come to terms with this is because technically you can see there being potential for it to possibly be that thing that you're looking for. And even though you can zoom out and say, nope, it's not going to be, when you're in it, it's like that possibility of maybe it being what you're looking for this time around. That's what sort of keeps you in that. Because it doesn't like close the door all the way. And so that chance, that maybe, that's what keeps going around and around. And then inevitably it's not. And then back in the same position again. So it feels like this has been sort of the cycle that's been continuing through this. And this is what's being worked on a deeper level. I think too, getting to the bottom of figuring out like what's motivating this. Why is the magnetism so strong? Because if magnetism for something is so strong, it shows you being in one polarity. And so there's going to be that sense of attraction to whatever this is on the other side of it. There's definitely, I'm getting something about it feels like a cleansing that's happening. The way that I'm seeing High Priestess be connected with Four of Swords is going to help you really tune in and see the truth, because it's already within you. It's just about sort of uncovering it, and the devil can sort of cover that up. And then Four of Swords being connected with the devil feels like taking that break from that thing. And so it's no longer clouding your judgment, so you can see clearly. But again, like the reason why there can be I don't want to see things clearly is because of then having to come to terms with things. And this can be a really heavy thing, because this is a lot, this can feel like a lot of disappointment. Because when you want something to be the thing that you seek, like the answer, and you're shown that it's not, but you still want it to be, that's where it can be difficult to see the truth, because of not wanting to, because of wanting to see what you want rather than what actually is. And that's where we get caught up in that cycle. And it feels too like thinking and tuning in. And I don't even think that it's just thinking. This feels like being present and mindful to your experience and what you're feeling, rather than just going for something, because something is not purified with the energy of the Knight of Wands. And so that means that there's something that's still being worked on when it comes to your instinct and what types of situations that leads you into. Because this feels like, without being mindful, without being totally present, getting into the same situation again and again. And then being like, why did I do that? And then doing the thing again and again. And this can be too, like anything that encourages this lack of mindfulness that keeps the cycle continuing. All right, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.